So I came down and this book jumped out on to me, and I've been thinking of Vincent La, Dr. Vincent La. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but he's a fantastic Ayurvedic doctor, the science of self-healing, and it's kapha season, and it's spring, and it's the clean out, detox, purifying moment to rebirth, right? And a very good moment to just do a lot of purification. But this, I just opened the book and see where it came to, and it said that a big part of cleaning out and is in yoga we talk about the five koshas, right? We talk about the physical body, the energetic body, the mind and emotions, the conscience, and the spirit. And on all of those bodies, we have to detox. And so, he goes on to talk about how repressed emotions, and it's just like, I don't know about you guys, but like the emotions that I find unacceptable or inconvenient or awkward or not of my, my wish to be more saintly than I am in that moment, possibly. Um, even though I don't want to repress them, I put them somewhere. So I am repressing them. I am putting them somewhere. I'm putting, I'll get to you later. It's like the child's like, me. I'm like, don't worry, I'll come back to you. But how many times do you really come back to it? Right. And sometimes you do because it's like, okay, I'm tugging on, the shirt and going, I need attention. I need to really look at this. And what the amazing thing is, he says that this affects the flora of the body, the gallbladder, the bile, the small intestine, and aggravates the pitta, right? And it's going to create this kind of like cranky baby, right? We all know this, like we've all experienced this. It's like if you neglect your inner child, if you neglect your emotional body, if you would neglect that, I mean, this is common sense. There'll be a kickback, right? And so what's interesting is as you do the practice and we go in there, we start to wring out all the detox. It's like to hold space for those things to bubble up. And you might not know exactly what that was, but to just really welcome the flow of emotion and to give it and to hold space for that to, with no judgment, to have its expression. And a lot of times I'll keep a journal next to me. I'll keep, maybe later I might even do some drawing or some painting. I just, like really allowing that dialogue to start. So that's what I thought might be a kind of a nice theme, is to just take a moment, close your eyes for a second, and just see if we can kind of get into the waters of our being, the emotions and the inner child, the moon-like qualities in this spring-like moment. And because we want to wash, we want to clean. And so just take a second and breathe. And instead of trying to find necessarily the peace, because so many times in our practice we go for finding the peace, which is ultimately the outcome, but sometimes you have to hold space for an unraveling to occur. So as you have that in your mind and in your consciousness and your emotions, just feel where it is in your body. Feel where the stuff is stuck. Like I can feel it in my body where it's like, a little like grumpy. Just breathe into that part of your body for a moment and welcome a dialogue, welcome an ability for that part of the body to speak honestly and truthfully with you, to give you insights and guidance as we go through the practice. Allow your abdomen to be soft, your jaw to be released, and sit into your buttocks, sit into your legs, sit into your belly. And know that there's nothing that you need to be other than where you are in this present moment, to hold space, to allow yourself to be completely authentic. And just breathe into that 3 times. And I'll ask you to just do a little humming. We'll do 3 breaths, inhaling, exhaling. One more. Just let your chin drop and slowly open your eyes. Okay, so let's come onto the mat. So coming onto hands and knees, spreading the fingers wide apart, taking the knees underneath the hips and wagging the tail. And the image that comes to my mind is the image of my favorite teacher who talks so much about allowing yoga to flow through you, the feminine energy of yoga, the feminine unfolding, she calls it. Angela Farmer, she talks about this, not necessarily having to stay in a static pose, but that also is something that you can do, but that you just start to let your intuition move your body. So within let's say the script of cat pose, you're going to improv and allow your inner child to just have that freedom and playfulness. And as Angela Farmer says so beautifully, to undent your body from the inside out. So just take a moment to be authentic, to be in the space with yourself, with the movement, with the breath, and wagging and rolling and undulating and moving in a way that just feels so delicious, and to create space and to create awareness and to clear and clean and acknowledge what's going on. So keeping that right hand down, we'll lift the left arm up and just rock the head. Inhale, you look down. Exhale, you look up. Just for a few breaths and feel that beautiful extension and release. Notice where any tightness might be and lovingly move to start to dislodge what blocks might be there, what tightness might be there. And then you'll take that left arm and you'll slide it through and drop the left shoulder down and thread the needle and begin to press through the right hand, wag the tail. Breathe into the space between the shoulder blades and find that release in through the heart chakra from the back door. All right, so we open up the space between the scapula as you wag your tail and move your breath and breathe into your armpits. And then pressing through, and let's try the other side. So we'll have that left hand down on the floor and the right arm comes up, and just begin to twist. Inhale, looking down. Exhale, looking up. Tailbone moves away from the top of the head, and find that beautiful fluidity and grace. Slower the better. As though someone's holding your fingertips and drawing the hand up towards the sky like an angel, just opening up the tightness and the tension. And then threading that right arm underneath, thread the needle, right arm drops down, shoulder drops down. I always feel like if I get that shoulder tucked under it in a good way, then I get an opening through the shoulder blades. That's just magnificent. And then I begin to wag. You can reach that left arm out if that feels better. And find the breath and just very gently and lovingly open up. Forehead is smooth, jaws release. Breath is deep in through the armpits, and find the end of the exhale. Nice. Coming back. And again, turn and undulate and notice what's going on. And then pressing back into downward facing dog for a moment. Let that head drop. Let the heels descend, let the toes lift, drop the heels to the right, drop the heels to the left, and elongate the side of the body. Feel like someone's pulling you back away from the hands as the hands reach out and create space between each vertebra, the scooping in of the belly, and listen to your body, right? You might want to come a little bit forward, you might want to come back. You can take that left hand to the outside of the right leg and find a twist. And then to the other side, and then dropping down onto the knees and arch the back. Exhale, round the spine, chin to the chest. Inhale, getting long. Exhale, rounding. Good. And then again, lifting that left arm up in the air. This time we'll thread it through. And then reaching out with that right hand and slowly begin to twist. If you want to make it a little more challenging, you can lift that right leg up off the floor as you reach that right arm out and find the breath. Empty everything out, drop that right leg down, and then lift the left leg up. And breathe. A little bit of play. Switch it around one more time, right leg lifts. And take it down, and left leg lifts. And take it down. And then come back again. Round, little circles, tailbone moves in the opposite direction of the head, and then the other way. And flow and play. And then that right hand comes up, we got that twist, and we thread the needle again. And reach that right arm out nice and long. And then you can lift, once you got your balance, left leg lifts, and get long. And breathe, feel your core supporting and stabilizing you. And then take it down, see if you can try the other side, reaching that right leg back. Reaching longer and longer. And then one more time, the first side. A little bit of balance. And then the other side. Having fun, playing. And then coming back slowly. Inhale, extend the spine, release the neck. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, coming into upward facing dog, firm the belly, or baby cobra, depending on where you're at today. Exhale, use the abdomen, downward facing dog. And again, inhale, open up the heart, find either baby cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more time, deep breath in. Opening up the heart. And this time just lower down to the floor. And what you'll do is you're going to take your hands onto the lower back and reach the left arm out in front and right leg lifts. And take it down. Right arm reaches out in front, left leg lifts. And take it down. Inhale. And exhale. Reaching long. And exhale. That's it. Perfect. Just little movements. Firm the belly. Press the hips down. Exhale. One more. And exhale. Opening up into upward facing dog. And exhale. Pull the belly in, downward facing dog. Beautiful. And drop down onto the knees. Extend the spine long. Opposite leg, opposite arm, reach out in front. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, growing in opposite directions. Exhale, pull the belly in. And deep breath in. Exhale. One more. And exhale. Good. And then you reach that leg back and reach that left arm out, holding the foot. Send that leg up towards the ceiling, firm the abdomen, and find your balance. Find your breath. Find your playfulness. That's an open heart. Breath into the armpit. And then release and bring that foot in between the hands onto the floor. Let the groin come down and forward. Hands to the knee. Left arm can rise up. Tuck the tailbone and lift the heart. Staying here, if you'd like, you can take your hand onto your lower back or slide the hand down the leg. Both hands down to the floor. Pull the hips back, straighten the leg, pull the toes towards you and melt out over that leg. And wiggle and breathe and liberate what's in the back of that leg. What's in the hamstring, what's in the glute, what's in the foot, what's in the calf, what's living there. Find the end of the breath. Empty, 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 empty. Nice work. And step it back slowly. Downward facing dog. That's it. Drop down onto the knees. Opposite leg, opposite arm. Exhale, elbow to knee. Right arm, left leg, or whatever side you haven't done. Exhale, elbow to knee. Deep breath in. And exhale. Exhale. Pull the navel towards the spine. One more. And exhale. Good. And then we'll bend the knee, grab under the foot, pull the foot back, lift the chest, open the heart. Empty all the air out. Feel like you kick that foot to the ceiling and then pull it back. And breathe into the armpit, breathe into the chest. Clear out, clean out. Shift. And then release and bring that foot in between the hands. Let the hips come down and forward, back knees on the floor, groin descends. And then you can take the hands to the knee. Taking that right arm up in the air. And it depends, right? How deep do you want to go? Honor where you're at. You can take that the left hand behind you. You can slide the hand down the leg and lift up and find more of a back bend. That's it. Lift up, transform through the breath. Both hands down to the floor, pull the hips back, straighten the front leg, pull the toes. Might want to slide that foot out a little bit more. And then feel the abdomen drawing in, spread the toes, point the toes right up towards the ceiling. I always like this feeling of kind of dragging the foot towards me as I lay out over that leg. Very nice. Stepping back into plank pose. That's it. And sliding the right hand into the center of the mat. Balance on the outer ridge of that right foot. Stack the legs on top of one another and reach that left arm up. And again, whatever variation feels good for you. You can take the leg up off the other leg. You can do the variation with a tree. You can take that top arm out over your head. Whatever feels good. Make it easy. Put the foot on the floor. Go for the yummy version. Lift the hips and open the heart. Beautiful. Both hands down, downward facing dog. And then we'll do the other side. Left hand slides into the center of the mat. Balance on the outer ridge of that left foot. Stack the legs. Vastisthasana. Take that arm out over the head and find the variation that feels good for you today. What's your body need? Do you need less? Do you need more? Right? What is it that your body's calling for today? Beautiful. And downward facing dog. That's it. Let's take a walk up to the hands and extend the spine. Deep breath in. Open up the heart. Exhale, melt out over the legs. Deep breath in, bend the knees and rise up into an awkward chair. Exhale, hands to the heart. Deep breath in, bend the knees, rising into an awkward chair. Feet are hip distance apart. Exhale, melt out over the legs, let the head relax. Inhale, extend the spine, just flowing. Exhale, big step back, right foot. Super simple. Drop that back knee to the floor and rise up into that low lunge. Exhale, hands down to the floor. Pull the foot back, pull the hips back, pull the foot back, melt out over that leg. And then again, groin descends and lift those arms up in the air. Again, hands down, pull the hips back, melt out over that leg. Groin descends, open up the heart, reaching the arms up in the air. It's coming down. This time, see if you can pull your hips back a little bit more. And for some, you might just want to stay there. Otherwise, you can come back to sit to the inside of that foot into a half Virasana. If you'd like, you can put padding underneath that left leg and extend it. And then melt out over the leg. Head relaxes, jaw releases. Empty everything out. Let's make sure the knees are about hip distance apart. Try not to let that knee come out too far. Make sure there's no discomfort in the knee. Comb the breath through the back of the leg. Wherever you are is perfect. Wiggle it a little bit, top of the foot to the floor. If that's uncomfortable, again, padding underneath there as you need. And weed out what needs to be released. Clear out, clean out. And then coming back up. And what you can do is stay here if you'd like. You might want to have blocks or a pillow, something like that. You can put behind you. You're going to tuck your tailbone, and maybe just here is enough for you, right? You'll feel that stretch in your quad. Want to make sure, again, the knee doesn't shoot out to the side. Tuck your tailbone and see if you can come back a little bit further and just see how it feels in the quad. And this is the place that they say the anger locks is in that quadricep. And then when you're ready, you can go back a little further, a little further. The other option is even to bend that extended leg to help to get the posterior tilt to your pelvis, to elongate the lower back. And so this quad stretch is one of the #1 poses that they say releases anger out of, and affects the gallbladder, liver, meridian. The iliotibial band is released. And you get to clear out the funk and that those times that you didn't say which was on your mind. Right now, breathe and comb it out. Comb those tingles out. Wherever you are, doesn't mean you have to go this deep into it, right? The second that you feel some awareness in that leg, that's it, you're there. And so all you have to do now internally is go in and start to clear it out with your breath and your awareness. Take the elbows onto the floor. Slowly, when you're ready, from your belly, come up. Place the foot onto the floor and step back very slowly, downward facing dog. Just let everything relax. Empty the breath, empty the mind. That's it. Deep breath in and a deep breath out. Feel the heels descend, let the head drop. Good. And then we'll take that right foot up in between the hands, drop the back and knee to the floor. Then we rise up into the lunge, reaching the arms up in the air, tuck that tailbone. And then exhale, hands down. Pull the hips back, straighten the leg, fold out over that leg. Hips come down, foot comes down, we bend the knee, rising up into that low lunge again. And then hands down. So it's like you're weeding the garden, right? First time you go out to the garden after the winter, it's like, ugh, all kinds of sludge and all kinds of, stuff. I just started cleaning out my art studio. Little mice made their homes in there. And I was like, oh, this is a good place to hang out. So when you're ready, you'll come back and either you'll stay here if you like, you'll come into the half Virasana. Set yourself up so you feel comfy. Make sure this feels good, the foot feels good, the knees in, not out too wide. Make sure you don't feel like you're falling over. You might want to put a towel or a padding underneath that extended leg and begin to come forward and melt and breathe. And wiggle. And just with your mind and just with your breath, you begin to transform your consciousness on a cellular level, an embodied level, right? We're working on that, they call it the sheath composed of food, Annamaya kosha, the sheath composed of food, that physical body. And we breathe, and then we go to the pranamaya kosha. We go to the level of the energy, the breath, and the meridians, and you clear there. And then to the level of the mind and the emotions, the manomaya kosha, we go to those emotions that have been buried into that, right? In there, push down. And I always giggle because it's, it's just a survival strategy to not be authentic. right? We get into people pleasing, we get into thinking what someone else wants and how to be, and we're just conditioned to be socialized that way, right? So when you're ready, tuck your tailbone, but then we have to do the work. So you decide if you want that, right? You want a little support, a little less or more, you decide, tuck your tailbone. You find, right, the place. You might want to bend that knee, that helps to get that tucking under the tailbone. And then recline back. Don't let this knee pop up. If it pops up, then you're too deep. It's amazing the difference between the sides too. Like this left side's a little bit more grumpy than the right side for me. And so what does that mean? The feminine, the connection to the feminine, my own feminine energy, my ability to have receptivity, my creative side, my mothering side, my sister, my daughter, my feminine friends, all of that ties into this. And so when you note, one part of the body is speaking loudly, it's a great thing to journal about. What do you want to tell me? What do you got to say? And it's amazing because if you get stuff stuck in here, it wants to pass down, and even the foot might cramp up a little bit, or you might get some other sensations as you're cleaning out the plumbing here. Hear the sound of your breath. Allow yourself to relax. Find the emptiness. Find the stillness at the end of the breath. And when you're ready, tuck those elbows underneath you, firm your abdomen, and lift your heart, then your head. Place the foot onto the floor. Slowly come forward. Just tracking that knee straight is always important when you come out of a huge, right? That's a very deep flexion of the knee. And then we come back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. And pull back. Feel the difference. Bend and straighten one leg, bend and straighten the other leg. Feel the change in the feet. Feel the change in the legs. Nice deep breath in. And then walk the feet up to the hands. Inhale, extend the spine. Exhale, melt out of the legs. Rising all the way up, palms touch. Exhale, hands to the heart. Bending the knees, arms rise up. Exhale, fold forward out of the legs. Deep breath in, extend the spine. Exhale, either jump back or step back into plank pose. Lowering down slowly. Inhale, find the back bend that works for you today. Exhale, downward facing dog. Nice. Right leg goes up in the air. Exhale, bring the knee to the chest. Inhale, reach it long. Exhale, knee to right shoulder. Inhale, reach long. Exhale, knee to left shoulder. Inhale, reach long. And then let's bring that knee in between the hands onto the floor into pigeon. Ekapada Rajika Uttanasana. So you have to decide how deep you want to go, right? If this feels like, I'm being super yummy with my body today, so I'm gonna take a little padding and take myself out of the pose a bit, right? So I'm gonna put a little pad underneath that right hip. And that just feels less is more. And then rocking and working that left leg back, internally rotating. And you just decide how high you want to bring this foot level to the knee. If you happen to be very open in your hips, you'll bring this foot forward. If you feel a little sticky today, you're going to keep it back. Sit. And then you decide, you keep the padding, you'll take it out, you decide the body's starting to release, you'll come down onto your elbows as you like. And again, the inner child is in charge here. You can do little circles and little sways. You can let that head relax. You can take it further and walk the hands out. You can take the left shoulder under and the right arm up, reach it back and hold the toes. Maybe find that guy on the right leg as you pull the right hip down. Right, you'll touch that foot. You'll hold the toes. You can bind a little bit. Find the breath. When you're ready, unravel, clearing out the lungs. And then decide again, if you want to keep that padding, you might want to put it back. You'll bend your back knee if that feels okay for you, and you can hold the foot and sit down a little more. You can bring that foot into the inner elbow. You can reach back with both hands, tuck the tailbone, draw the belly in, slow the breath. And again, we get into that quad stretch in that same area that loves to hold the good, likes to hold the anger. So every time we stretch the quad, you start to get into that meridian that clears out the anger, the repressed emotions, and you're clearing out the organs as you do this. One more deep breath in. You can release, and let's take that foot and bring it all the way around and come into Janu Shirshasana. So let this knee come out a little bit. You can take this foot to the inner thigh, or you can take it a little bit further back, which will intensify it, where you have the heel to your inner thigh of the right leg. And then the right arm goes out and reaches towards the foot and melts out over the leg. The further you wrap that right leg back and ground through that right hip, you get a big stretch in the lower back, which feels amazing. If you can't reach your foot, bend the knee. That's fine. And then you can slowly begin to straighten it or not. Head relaxes and just let yourself melt out over the leg. You know, sometimes you keep the back extended. Sometimes it's nice to just let everything fold forward and drop and breathe. Find the stillness beneath the chatter. Beautiful. Slowly come back up. And let's take this foot and cross it over. And drop the left hip down. Hold the knee, lift your heart, and come into a twist. Inhale, you can look forward. Exhale, look over the back shoulder. Bring out the spine. Heal the digestive system by detoxing. Clearing out the lower belly. Scoop the abdomen in. And then you can pull that foot back, stack the knees on top of one another. Lift up a little, use the padding as you need, and then just melt. Let the arms relax. Keep it simple. Keep dropping the head, rock a little. The waters of your body. We talked about the waters of the body, and the second chakra, the hips and lower back, is that spot that the waters of our body tend to, that's the headquarters, we can say. So we're releasing, and relaxing, and transforming. When you're ready, come back up. And then uncross the legs. Let's bring the feet level to the knees. Bring those knees in. Inhale, let the legs move away. Exhale, knees in. Deep breath in and exhale. That's it. Feel your core. Feel your pelvic floor. Detox. Create that beautiful cleansing. One more breath. Place the feet under the floor and coming into a squat. Elbows come to the inside of the knees as you can, right? You might need to elevate your hips. You might need to put a block, whatever feels comfortable to you. Here, pelvic floor lifts, jaw releases, neck releases. If you want to take a bind, you can spread the arms and wrap the arms around that right leg, turn, release the neck and the shoulders, forehead and the scalp. Bind the other side if you like, or just open up the arms. Head, jaw, neck, scalp. What needs to let go? Where do you need to move the prana? What needs to be liberated? And hands onto the floor. And then you can take those legs, again, keep them pretty wide. Hands onto the floor. And I always think this is like an inner child favorite. Come up onto the toes, squeeze the outer upper arms, transfer the weight forward. And maybe you can take one foot up off the floor, other foot up off the floor, and find your raven. And that's it. You got it. And then when you're ready, you can jump back or step back into plank pose. You can go through the vinyasa or just step back into downward facing dog. And let your head relax. Wag the tail. Heels to one side, heels to the other side. You got it. Left leg goes up in the air. Exhale, bring the knee to the chest. Inhale, reach long. Exhale, knee to the left shoulder. Inhale, reach long. Exhale, knee to the right shoulder. One more deep breath in. And then bring that knee in between the hands onto the floor. Lengthen the back leg away. Padding as you like. I'm encouraging for less is more. Feel more, do less is always my favorite theme. And then a little bit of rocking, right? Just rocking and releasing. Rolling that inner thigh on the back leg back. Internal rotation. And finding where's the sticky stuff. Like you're looking as you undulate and move, you're looking, where's the sticky part? What am I trying to avoid? Where don't I want to feel? Right? You almost do like a cat pose. You can kind of arch and round. That's it. And when you feel like you can continue to tuck that tailbone, because the pose is naturally going to create an anterior tilt to the pelvis. So as I ground my tailbone down, I'm doing an opposition to what naturally occurs and keeping more of a balance. And then you can decide to extend the arms out, or you can take the twist if you like, threading the needle again, taking the arm up or wrapping it around your back to hold your foot. And breathing and elongating and seeing where can you move your breath into a new corner, into a new region, into a place that you've been a little bit unconscious around. Beautiful. When you're ready, unravel and walk the hands back in. Use your padding or not. You can bend that back knee if you like. And slowly bring that foot in, and so that you feel that awareness in your quadricep. You can wrap it into your inner elbow. You can hold with both hands, whatever feels right to you. And the second you feel an awareness, just like when you get a massage, right? You're giving yourself a massage from the inside out. So as you have a heightened awareness in a particular area, what do? You stay present with it. You're finding the boundary with it. You're finding a transformation with that spot, with that place where that sensation lives. And I'm holding space for it to tell me something, release something, be present to it. And as you are, usually it shifts. That's what's amazing. And then when you're ready, you'll release the foot and bring that leg back around. And we'll come into Jana Shirshasana on this side. So you're going to open up that left leg, square your hips or not, right? I'm sorry, square your torso out over the leg. You can let the hips be offset. And then you just decide how far back you want that leg that feels comfortable to you. And then opposite arm reaches across to the outside of the foot and you start to melt out over that leg as you get a sense that someone's grounding this leg back. Right, so this is grounding as I fold out over the leg. Scoop the belly in. Feel the pelvic floor lift. Let the head relax and melt. Right hip back, left hip forward, spread the toes. Beautiful. When you're ready, slowly come back up. Deep breath in and a deep breath out. Cross the leg over. Right hand's behind you. Drop that right hip, get tall. Hold the knee with the left hand and twist to look over the back shoulder. Pull the belly in. Inhale, looking forward, get tall. Exhale over the back shoulder. And again, whatever variation you want to do, you want to bind, you want to go deeper, or you just want to create more space. What is it your inner child wants today? That's it. Pull the foot back, stack the knees on top of one another if you want. Lift up a little bit and snuggle down into the sand. Imagine you're at the beach and you're just letting your buttocks drop and you're held. And then as you're ready, feel that deepening, feel that connection. Send your sit bones down, send your roots down. Feel that connection with the earth as you melt out over the legs. Then relax your jaw. I find when I move, right, the waters love to move, the hips release much more gracefully, much more easily. It's like rocking a baby. There's a sense of safety. The nervous system feels soothed. And so there's an easier time of letting go. Lips together, teeth apart, feel the jaw, base of skull, forehead, eyes, scalp, all of it relax. Nice and slowly come back up. Extend the legs out for a moment. And then take the soles of the feet to touch. Pull the heels in towards the groin. Let yourself kind of scoop in close. Press those knees down, lift the chest. Pelvic floor lifts. If you want to cup the hands around the feet, you can do that. And feel that connection from the earth, from the pelvic floor, up through the core, up into the third eye. Forehead is smooth. How slow and long can you make your breath? Quiet can your mind become as you lift the pelvic floor? And you feel that connection from the base of your body up through the Sushumna, up through the river of grace, the core of your being, up into your third eye. That connection. Nice. And then place the feet onto the floor and then come back up into the squat. Hands onto the floor, folding forward out over the legs. Inhale, extend the spine. Exhale, either jump or step back. Lowering down slowly. Inhale, find the back bend that works for you. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg goes up in the air. Exhale, come forward into plank or chaturanga. Inhale, leg is back up. Exhale, knee to the chest. Inhale, reach long. Exhale, coming forward. Inhale, back up. Exhale, knee to the chest. One more. Deep breath in. Exhale, forward. Inhale, back up. Exhale, knee to the chest. Place the foot in between the hands onto the floor and rise up into a lunge. Nice. And then you're going to take your hands to your hips, transfer the weight forward. Let's lift the back foot up off the floor. Coming into Virabhadrasana 3, lifting that leg and extending the torso forward, getting your balance better than I am. There you go. That's it. That's it, getting longer and longer. Let's take the hands down to the floor. Right hand's going to stay on the floor. You're going to open up that left hip and extend the left arm up in the air and come into Ardha Chandrasana. And we're going to honor the moon energy. Bend the knee, you can hold the foot and feel that opening if you'd like, or keep the leg straight, extend the arm up and reach to the moon, reach to the stars energetically. Feel that breath. And then both hands down, folding forward out over the leg. Let that leg lift, melt out over the leg. And then take that knee to the outside of the right leg and almost take it down and then grow it back up. Take that knee to the outside of that right leg and then grow it back up. One more deep breath. Let it come down and reach it back up. And then step that foot way back and fold forward out over the leg. Nice, stepping back into plank. Lowering down slowly. Inhale, open apart. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then left leg goes up in the air. Exhale, coming forward, plank or chaturanga. Inhale, take that leg up. Exhale, knee into the chest. Inhale, reach it long. Exhale, forward. Inhale back up. Exhale, knee to the chest. And deep breath in. Exhale forward. Inhale all the way back up. And then place that foot in between the hands onto the floor, coming into the lunge again. Reaching the arms up. Setting the hips down. Hands to the hips. Transfer the weight forward to warrior three. Lifting that back leg up. Extending the body long. Finding that place. Hands can go to the hips, hands can go out to the sides, hands can reach out in front. See what you're in the mood for today. Stretching through, feel the core. Good. Hands down to the floor. So you're going to make sure that left leg is in line, right? You got the foot and the knee in alignment. Left hand is on the floor. Peel and stack that right hip on top of the left. And then grow that right arm up in the air into Ardha Chandrasana. And you can stay here if you like. You can look up if you've got your balance. You can bend your knee, hold your foot, and find your breath. That's it. Find your breath. Comb it through. Connect to the moon. Connect to the emotions. Connect to the grandmother that holds you, that allows you, that loves you no matter what. Your authentic inner child. Sweetness that you are. Releasing the foot. There you go, both hands down. And then square the hips, fold out over the leg, take that leg up, standing splits, bend the knee to the outside of the leg, halfway down, and then reach that leg back up, halfway down, and reach it up. And then take that knee again to the outside of the leg, and reach it up, and then grow that leg right back. And ground it back, heel to the floor, melt out over the leg, head drops. Beautiful. Stepping both feet up together. Deep breath in, extend the spine. Exhale, melt out over the legs. Take those legs wide again. Let's come one more time into the squat. Set the hips down. And feel that sweetness of the insects. I always think I look like a bug in this pose, right? And so I think about that sweetness of the insects that are just waking up from the dream. In the spring, they've been resting and sleeping and transforming. And right, what do the ants dream in the winter? What do the butterflies dream in the moths? Such a sweet thought. Letting the hips come down, bring the legs together. Let's go into the back. Roll down, unravel the spine, hug the knees into the chest. You got it. So what I'm gonna suggest that we do, since we've been in the feminine energy, is I'd love for you to set up, either with a bolster, a pillow, or your blocks, a little cushion for yourself. And you might want to have your blocks if you want to be very delicious today. I said it was going to be a yummy class. I tried to make it more on the yummy side than the hard side. So goddess pose, come on, right? That's the good one. So soles of the feet touch, knees open out to the sides. I like to prop because why not, right? Why not bring the earth up to feel? And you know, it's not as your full range of motion, no, but it's kind of a beautiful thing to just let yourself feel supported, right? To feel supported, to feel that, you know, someone's got your back. So my knees are supported on the blocks. I'm keeping it simple. You can use a belt around your hips and around your legs and that contraction the spine, but sometimes it's nice not to make it too over the top. You got a nice curve in the lower back. If that feels too much in your lower back, you can put a little bit of padding. And so that drop between the top of the bolster and the bottom isn't as exaggerated. Turn the head from side to side and find that spot in the back of the head that just feels exquisite. Centered and balanced. Close your eyes and become like water. And feel what's stuck, what's sticky starts to dissolve. Move your awareness through and see what calls to you. What part of the body is it hard to breathe into? Just notice it and see if you can lovingly move your breath into that spot. Create more space, create more awareness. Right? And as you release those spots, maybe you rock your head, maybe you release your shoulders, maybe you tuck your tailbone or curl your tail and you find something change in your body and you adjust. You settle down more deeply. Become more heavy, more in your body because it's more comfortable. It's more at ease. Stay there. Stay in that moment. Om Namah Narayana. Om Namah Narayana. Open your breath. Take your thumbs over the tips of the fingers and wiggle the toes. Gently bring the knees into the chest. We'll take them together and roll off your bolster onto the right side. Come and sit into a cross-leg position when you're ready, and then just walk your hands out in front and let yourself come into a forward bend, into just a forward bend in a cross-leg position. And release your lower back. And walk your hands over towards your right knee and stretch out through the left arm. Let your head drop. And then over to the other side. Breathe and melt. Feel the space in the body. And come back to center. Let's take the palms together. And send some gratitude out into the world, to yourself, for showing up today for yourself, for the intention, for the willingness to connect to your feelings, your inner child, to give her or him a voice, a validation, to honor the authentic innocence and purity of who you are. Send gratitude out to all of humanity. Gives us the opportunity to grow and evolve and to know ourselves. And to all the beautiful earth, to the waters, the creatures in the waters, to the insects, the grasses and flowers and food plants and the medicine plants, to the animals, the trees and the birds and the wind, the thunder, the lightning, the sun, the moon, the stars, the guardians and enlightened teachers, and to the source of all of creation, we say thank you. Now our minds are one. Namaste.